Alright, let's go deeper. I'm going to say this clearly, simply, but fully so you understand the weight of what's happening here. This person is not just casually thinking about you. You are on their mind in a way that interrupts them. Yes, there is physical attraction. Strong physical attraction. They imagine being close to you, touching you, kissing you. Those thoughts don't show up politely either. They appear randomly when they're working, when they're trying to focus, when they're around other people, when they're lying in bed at night trying to sleep. You cross their mind without warning. But this is not just lust. If it were only physical, it would have faded by now. It would have been simple, easy to dismiss, easy to replace. This isn't that. At first, they tried to label you as something casual, something they could handle, just chemistry, distraction, something fun without emotional consequences. They told themselves it wasn't serious. But the moment desire started mixing with emotion, everything shifted. Now when they imagine you, it's layered. It's not just your body. It's your voice, the way you speak, the way your eyes hold contact, the way you react when you're slightly shy or slightly bold, the way you don't give access easily, the way you don't chase, the way you don't try too hard. You don't feel desperate. You don't feel like you're performing for attention. And that makes them want you more. You activate something instinctive in them. Not aggressive, not reckless. Instinctive in a deep way. Protective, slightly possessive, alert. When they imagine kissing you, it's not rushed. It's slow, intentional. There's tension, eye contact, silence before the first touch. They imagine the pause before anything happens, because that pause is powerful. That pause is where control starts slipping, and losing control around you both excites and scares them. They think about you in ways that would make you blush. Yes, there are intense thoughts. But here's the difference. Those thoughts are not empty. They're tied to emotion. They don't want random intimacy. They want meaningful intimacy. They imagine you looking at them in a certain way, choosing them, trusting them, letting them see the softer, more vulnerable side of you that not everyone gets access to. They don't just want your body. They want your closeness, your attention, your emotional openness, your exclusivity. And that's where jealousy comes in. If they picture someone else touching you, being close to you, laughing with you the way they want to, it unsettles them immediately. It irritates them. It creates this tight feeling in their chest. Not because they want to control you, but because they feel attached. They fantasize about having you to themselves. No competition. No outside distractions. Just private space. Quiet moments. Tension building. Uninterrupted connection. That goes beyond simple attraction. That's emotional investment. On the outside, they may look composed, calm, in control, maybe even a little detached at times. Inside, it's different. They're battling impulses. They have pride. They don't like appearing desperate. They don't like looking weak or overly emotional. They prefer to look steady, grounded, mature. But you shake that steadiness. You make them feel slightly unbalanced in a way they can't fully explain. And the strange part, they're addicted to that feeling. They've been attracted to people before. They've had options before. They've felt desire before. But you feel different. Because your energy doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It doesn't overextend. You make them feel like access to you must be earned. And that creates fixation. They want to impress you. They want to feel chosen by you. They want to feel like they are the one who gets the deeper version of you. Now let's talk about something even more subtle. Their subconscious. This isn't just daydreaming. They may actually dream about you. Real dreams. Waking up feeling like they were just with you. Feeling your presence lingering in their body when they open their eyes. Sometimes the dreams are intense. Sometimes they're emotional. Sometimes they're just you being close. But either way, you're there. You've moved from surface attraction into their subconscious space. And once someone enters that space, it's not easy to remove them. The real truth is this. They're trying to hold it together. They're trying to appear normal, unbothered, in control. But internally, you've created a pull they didn't expect. They don't just desire you. They feel drawn to you. There's fascination. There's curiosity. There's attachment growing underneath the surface. They don't want just access to your body. They want access to your world. And that's what makes this deeper than a simple crush. You didn't just attract them physically. You affected them emotionally. And now they're sitting with feelings they didn't plan on having. Feelings that are harder to ignore every single day. There's a feeling that hasn't gone away. It's still lingering. Still sitting in the air between you and this person, even when neither of you says anything. And what makes this so real is that it doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Sometimes it comes through dreams that aren't even clear or dramatic. Sometimes it's not about anything wild. Sometimes it's just closeness. Just the idea of being near you. Skin close to skin. Quiet breathing. That kind of intimacy where nothing has to be said, but everything is felt. And honestly, that kind of closeness can feel heavier than any fantasy. Because it carries emotion. It carries safety. It carries presence. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it either. Sometimes the desire feels stronger, more physical, more intense. Sometimes it's not subtle at all. Sometimes it's that full, undeniable, I want you energy. And the reason this is important is because it proves something about the connection. When someone's desire is only physical, it burns fast and it fades fast. It's like a spark that looks powerful for a moment, then disappears. You've seen that kind of energy before. You've felt it before. People get excited, they chase, they want the thrill. And then the moment the thrill is gone, so are they. But that's not what's happening here. This hasn't faded. It hasn't cooled off. It hasn't disappeared. It has intensified. And that is the clearest sign that their feelings are not just physical. Because every time they try to reduce you to just attraction, they can't do it. Their emotions get complicated. Their mind won't stay in one place. They try to keep it casual in their head. And then they catch themselves caring more than they planned. Yes, they think about your body. Yes, they imagine touching you. Yes, they feel drawn to you in that way. But right after that, their mind goes somewhere else too. They think about your future. They think about what kind of life you want. They think about what you deserve. They think about keeping you safe. They think about being the person who stands beside you, not just the person who visits your life for a moment. So it's like their desire pulls them toward you. But their emotions pull them even deeper. They don't just imagine intimacy. They imagine stability. They imagine something that lasts. They imagine building, not just taking. And that's not casual. That's not temporary. That's not fun for the moment. That's progression. Now, the tricky part is, people like this don't always say what they feel right away. Especially if they're used to being in control. Especially if they don't like feeling vulnerable. Especially if they're the type who would rather show it slowly than admit it all at once. So they might not confess it yet. They might not say, I want something serious with you, out loud. But their actions will start telling the truth. And that's why you need to watch the small signs. Because the small signs are where the truth leaks out. You may notice them trying to be closer to you in subtle ways. Not always obvious, not always bold. But the kind of closeness that feels intentional. Like they find reasons to be near you. They sit closer. They stay longer. They appear more often. They respond faster than they used to. You may notice more eye contact. And not just quick glances. The kind of eye contact that feels like they're trying to read you. Like they're memorizing you. You may notice a protective tone. The way their voice changes when they speak to you. The way they check on you. The way they don't like the idea of you being hurt, played with, or disrespected. It's not always loud protection. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's in the way they ask questions. Sometimes it's in the way they watch the room when you're around. You may notice them testing your feelings. Not in a childish way, but in a careful way. They might ask questions that don't look deep on the surface, but underneath, they're checking how much you care. They're trying to understand what they mean to you. They're trying to feel safe before they go all in. You may notice probing conversations about the future. Like they casually bring up long-term plans. They talk about goals, relationships, timing, what you want in life, what you're building, what you believe in. And it might feel random, but it's not random. It's them trying to place themselves in your life in a real way. Because what's happening here is that the energy is shifting from attraction to emotional investment. And you can feel it. That tension you've been carrying, that magnetic pull, the unspoken heat between you and someone else. That feeling that something is there but it hasn't been fully said yet. If this is resonating with you, then let this be your confirmation. It's mutual. You're not crazy. You're not making it up. You're not reading too much into it. You're sensing what they're trying to hide. But here's the most important part. You are not powerless in this. You control the pace. You decide when doors open. You decide when access is granted. You decide what someone is allowed to touch, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. And that right there, that restraint, that calm control, that self-respect, it's not pushing them away. It's pulling them in deeper. Because when someone realizes they can't rush you, they start respecting you. When someone realizes they can't play with you, they start valuing you. When someone realizes you're not easy to access, they start thinking twice before they risk losing you. That's why they can't stop thinking about you. Because your energy isn't desperate. It isn't chaotic. It isn't chasing. It's grounded. And grounded energy is magnetic. Now, about this connection. It hasn't been simple. It hasn't been a straight line. It's been a winding road. There have been ups and downs. Moments of closeness. Moments of distance. Times where it felt clear, and times where it felt confusing. It may not have been clean. It may not have unfolded perfectly. There may have been delays, hesitation, or emotional walls. But the key is this: just because it wasn't clean doesn't mean it wasn't real. Sometimes the realest connections go through the mess first, because they're transforming two people at once. And what I'm seeing here is not a fast, reckless energy. It's baby steps. Slow movement. Careful progress. Small moments that lead to something bigger. And you might even find yourself celebrating little things that other people wouldn't understand. Because with this person, even small steps mean something. A message that feels warmer than usual. A compliment that feels more personal. A moment of jealousy they try to hide. A protective action. A conversation that goes deeper than normal. A look that lingers. A soft confession that they disguise as a joke. These are signs. And the reason you're getting this message is because you've been wondering something. Is it just chemistry? Or is it more? And the answer is, it started as chemistry, but it's becoming more. This person may appear strong, manly, tough, confident, but inside, they are being pulled into something they didn't plan. Something that feels bigger than their usual patterns. Something that demands maturity from them. They want celebration with you. They want joy. They want to feel chosen by you. They want to feel like they earned you, not like they borrowed you. They want to experience you in a real way, not just physically, but emotionally. And you might be thinking, then why are they still slow? Because slow doesn't always mean unsure. Sometimes slow means they're trying not to mess it up. Sometimes slow means they know you're not the type they can play with. Sometimes slow means they're building courage to say what they really feel. So here's what you need to remember as this unfolds. Don't rush. Don't chase. Don't force. Let their actions prove what their mouth hasn't said yet. Keep your standards. Keep your boundaries. Keep your power. Because the more you stay grounded, the more this person will feel pulled to step up. Not just to impress you, but because they don't want to lose you. So if you've been feeling this pull, if you've been sensing something unspoken, if you've been wondering why they still can't fully let you go in their mind, it's because you're not a passing desire to them. You're becoming a future to them. And what happens next will be shaped by one thing: how you continue to hold your value, while allowing the connection to grow at the pace that protects your heart. This connection was never a failure. It just didn't follow a straight path. There were pauses, silence, emotional pullbacks, wanting each other but not acting on it, watching from a distance, testing the energy, trying to stay calm when the feelings were anything but calm. That's why the tension became so intense. When two people suppress what they feel, the pressure builds. The distance didn't weaken this bond, it strengthened it. Every time they tried to distract themselves or keep things casual, they somehow found their thoughts curving right back to you. And none of it was wasted time. It was building awareness, maturity, emotional clarity. Sometimes desire needs space to deepen. Sometimes distance turns attraction into devotion. Now something has shifted. This is no longer just physical desire. They're starting to imagine you romantically. Not just chemistry, but connection. Not just passion, but partnership. They think about dates, holding your hand, being seen together, introducing you to people, claiming you openly. That's powerful. Because when someone moves from secret attraction to public vision, it means the feelings are getting real. Before it was heat. Now it's heat plus heart. They're realizing this isn't just hunger. It's affection. It's longing. It's wanting you in their everyday life, not hidden in fantasy. But they're not going to rush in recklessly. They'll move carefully. You may notice small but meaningful changes. More consistency. More effort. Subtle flirting with deeper undertones. More curiosity about your day. More emotional questions. They don't want to lose you by coming on too strong. They want to approach this wisely. Underneath that calm surface, though, the desire is intense. And here's what's beautiful. When they picture being with you, they see happiness, laughter, private jokes, comfort, stability. They don't imagine chaos. They imagine building something solid. They don't want to hide you. They want to celebrate you. There's an energy of public acknowledgement here. Being seen together. Showing up together. Not keeping this connection in the shadows. And it goes deeper than attraction. They're thinking long-term. Routine. Consistency. Sharing space. Creating something that lasts. Even their physical fantasies feel grounded, not reckless or temporary. It's not just about experiencing you. It's about keeping you. You're no longer just a moment in their mind. You're becoming part of their future thinking. At the same time, they're still exploring their feelings, understanding how deeply this affects them, figuring out what this connection truly means. And yes, the physical pull is still very strong, but it's not chaotic. It's fascinated, intentional. They're attracted to your independence, your self-control, your quiet confidence, your sensual energy without desperation. They want to understand all of you mentally, emotionally, physically. So yes, they crave your touch. They imagine your warmth. They replay how it would feel to pull you close. But this is no longer just playful tension. It's emotional intensity mixed with desire. And when someone shifts from fantasy to future thinking, they can't pretend it's casual anymore. Expect gradual but real movement. Small gestures. Protective energy. Emotional honesty slowly appearing. More effort. Even if it starts subtle. The tension hasn't disappeared. It's transforming. And when tension turns into intention, that's when things begin to change for real. When they're alone, their body reacts to you like something already happened between you, even though it hasn't. That's how strong this connection feels to them. It's not just attraction. It's something that feels instinctive, almost programmed. You are comfort and intensity at the same time. You calm them. But you also awaken something powerful inside them. Around you, they feel more alive, more passionate, more bold. And that both excites them and scares them. Because when it comes to you, their logic weakens. When the chemistry rises, through eye contact, conversation, or even silence, they lose their usual control. They might say things they didn't plan to say. Text you at random hours. Lean in closer without realizing it. React faster than they normally would. You affect their reasoning, and they know it. That's why sometimes they try to act composed, cool, unbothered, but it doesn't last. The energy between you isn't a slow burn anymore. It feels like ignition. Being near you charges them. Even quiet moments feel heavy and electric. And this isn't just about physical attraction. It's deeper. You make them feel alive, activated, seen. They imagine closeness with you, not just physically, but emotionally. They imagine you being vulnerable with them. Soft, open, letting them in. That's the real desire. They don't just want access to your body. They want access to your heart. But here's where it gets real. This connection doesn't fully make sense to them. It might not fit their plans or timeline. It may feel inconvenient, but it feels undeniable. And when something feels undeniable, it becomes harder to resist. At the same time, they're afraid. They know their feelings are intense. They know their desire runs deep. Sometimes it even borders on possessiveness, and that worries them. They fear that if you saw just how strongly they feel, you might step back. So sometimes they pull away. Sometimes they hide their depth. Sometimes they pretend they're less affected than they really are. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much. Now the clarity is here. They're not confused anymore. They know they want you. They know the attachment is real. And they know this isn't going away. So what you can expect is a shift. More eye contact. More emotionally layered conversations. More closeness. More intensity in how they speak to you. They're not cooling down. They're stepping closer. This connection isn't fading. It's building.